we'll get this thing rolling. So first thing, let's start with Matt. Matt posted in the group, Matt Ritchie. He said, hey, what do I do? The last 10 days I've been rocking it. I've been hitting like 4s and 5s every day, getting almost perfect scores. I've had the most productive time I've had in as long as I can remember, totally kicking ass and on fire and loving the momentum. But, and a big but, the problem or slash challenge is, let's start with Matt. Matt posted in the group, Matt Ritchie. He said, hey, what do I
Marci.
do? The last 10 days I've been rocking it. I've been hitting like 4s and 5s every day, getting almost perfect scores. I've had the most productive.
I can hear you, Chris.
I guess it's not you that was echoing. It was my same old trick of leaving the recording going on the back end. I thought I had alleviated that game. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the big but was now that he's on fire, he's got all this momentum, he's kicking ass, he's got all this epicness going on. Now he's experiencing distance between him and his girlfriend. So the connection that they do have doesn't feel as epic as it used to feel. And through further discussion and exploration, we discovered that she doesn't come from an entrepreneurial background. She comes from people who are 9-to-5 background, and she's just really not into that background. And Matt's like, it's kind of ironic because she loves the lifestyle that it gives us from, we set our own cap on our income, and we set our own schedules, and it gives us this lifestyle that she absolutely loves. But then when the flip side of it is when I get in and I'm really creating deliberately and with all this momentum, then she feels left out, and there's kind of this disconnect and stuff that goes on. So my feedback in the forum was that basically it was kind of not too positive of feedback if you judge it to be not that so. And I said, my prediction is that if she doesn't get some assistance with shifting through her limiting stories and beliefs around business and entrepreneurship and relationships, then there will be big issues down the line. And that if she were to not deal and address that, this is early signs of codependency. It's like, I need you to fulfill me. I need this to be this way for me to be okay. And so there's some concerns there. And then as far as the other half of the equation goes, Matt, inside of you, there's this powerful creator. There's this entrepreneur. There's this free spirit that is meant to create so much more. And when you came into the group, it was this kind of, not on fire. And now you're starting to get on fire and catch momentum. And the nature of us as creators is to create. And anytime we're not expanding and creating, we get out of integrity and alignment with our true nature. And then we start to feel like shit. We start to die. And so for you, it's going to feel like a trade-off. Like, I love the connection with my sweetheart and expanding in that relationship. But I also love my expansion as an entrepreneur and a creator. And if you if you choose between the two and you sacrifice or compromise or suppress your creativity and your passion and your purpose for someone else, you will later resent that person because you will have gone onto the hero role and then later jump onto the villain role. And so many, many times what happens in relationships, there's case study after case study of one spouse who did a job they hated, sacrificed their own well-being and career and life and dreams and goals to put the other spouse through college and to empower them to do their thing, only to create distance in the relationship and have the relationship end. So the one spouse worked 4 years at a job they hated, putting the other spouse through school, and then by the time they got them through school, the relationship ended and they leave pissed off and hating each other.
We're good.
And so this scenario plays out over and over and over. It's a very common occurrence. And so the key things to look for, Matt, is Do not sell yourself out. Do not compromise your own inner desires and drive and creative, energetic expression. That doesn't mean you have to leave her. That doesn't mean you have to leave her behind. You'll want to look at your upper limits and her upper limits. Matt, have you listened to or read the book, The Big Leap? Okay, so you will want to do that as soon as possible. It describes some of our most common upper limits as being afraid to leave others behind, afraid of outdoing somebody, afraid of stealing attention or love from somebody, and things like that. So consider in your choices and listen to that book, and then stay attuned to what unconscious beliefs might keep you from shining your full light and expressing your full creative expression in the world. And then stay attuned to the end as well. How do I create that deep connection and create the relationship I want and the business I want? So in your head and in her head right now, it may seem like a challenge. And let me kind of debunk that myth real quick. You're both single. You have more money than you need, and you have no kids. So the next time you think you have it hard, laugh at yourself. Consider Marci, who is a single mother with 2 kids, who runs multiple businesses, has multiple partners, runs live events, and pulls off all kinds of shit that she's creating probably 10 times in the world what you're currently creating as a single mother with 2 kids. Or consider me, that's running 3 or 4 businesses, launching a product, literally like a physical product with patents and all that. I'm a parent, I'm in a marriage, I'm divorced and manage my previous relationship with 2 kids from that relationship. I connect with all of my kids every single day, quality time, and keep all of those relationships alive. I invest in my marriage every single day and create the quality time. And I train for an Ironman while running 4 businesses and launching a product. So next time you think you have it hard and that you can't have it all, that there's not enough time, know that it's bullshit. It's absolutely bullshit. So many days I'm training 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes as much as 8 hours in a day training my physical body, and still connecting with my wife and kids and still running my businesses. Are there times that I get tired? Yes. Are there times that we start to feel a disconnect in the relationship? Yes. Do we catch it quickly and then adjust? Yes. So part of the journey is going to be simply commitment. And it sounds like you're doing your part from everything I can tell. You've read the book, The Way of the Superior Man, and if any of you men haven't read The Way of the Superior Man, read it. It's a key book for polarity and relationships and understanding attraction between couples and relationships, realizing the importance of knowing your definiteness of purpose and moving forward in that, and how that's actually more attractive and polarizing than being a pansy who sacrifices yourself and follows after somebody and then they lose attraction for you, and now you got a bigger mess in your hands when what you thought you were doing was being the nice guy, being sensitive and caring, and instead what you were doing was sacrificing yourself, which made you unattractive, and then you're pissed off because they don't respond with a thank you for that. Marci, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So, awesomeness. I totally agree with everything that you said. We did get everything switched over, so I should be good now on battery. But the thing I want Matt to hear, or I guess anybody to hear, is that it's all perfect feedback. Like your relationships are your personal, I like to call them pets. They're personal emotional trainers. And if it's the thing that I hear that came up for me is, as you were describing, you know, Matt having this start to show up, is you guys are about to get married. And so it's like awesome. What a gift of gratitude and feedback for you to look at right now. okay, what would we get to do to be more clear with our communication, be more clear in what her passion and purpose is? Because so many women fall into this game where it's like, oh, I'm waiting for you to validate me and make me feel important. So hence, yes, of course she wants the bank and the income and for you to thrive and do that, but if you're not spending time with her, then it instantly triggers her that she's not important. That shows her love language is quality of time. And, you know, that's probably one of her main love languages. So how do you get to figure out what's really going on? Another one that I would recommend is Tony Robbins has in, I'll think of the name of it and I'll send it to you, Matt, but it's a video. Sometimes I'll do at my, did you grab my wallet too? Yeah. It's a video I'll do sometimes at the my cabin retreats where it's like taking you from looking at what's like on a couple that's like on the verge of divorce, and they think that you know, what they're perceiving is going on is something completely different than what is actually going on based when you actually break down communication and see what their thoughts and their perceptions are. So, Way of the Superior Man, Chris suggested, Awesomeness, all those are really good, but I think it comes down to less than 1%, let's find a place to sit, less than 1% of the world knows how to communicate. I really believe. So, did it keep us off? Is it that? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
There we go.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So less than 1% of society really knows how to communicate on what's really going on because we instantly take on perceptions and then act out on those perceptions without getting really clear. So my feedback is just see it as like, wow, this is an awesome, amazing gift. I get to see that there's some disconnect going on. How do we, this is ultimately the thing that I'm thinking is that you can up-level a ton, Matt, and anybody can up-level a ton. Brandon, you probably experienced too. But if you're both not willing to up-level and look at your own shit, because if Chris and I are working together and I have something trigger me and I'm in my shit, it doesn't affect Chris from being out of alignment, and vice versa. But we both get to stand in our strength to get clear to go, oh, okay, so I get to notice it's my own shit going on. What do I get to do to realign? And it doesn't mean he's got to save me or there's got to be something's wrong with him. It's like holding that space. But if you guys are continuing to go through a cycle where you say, well, I've got to make her happy and I've got to make me happy, it's just a bullshit game. You're broken half and a half trying to be a whole, which is never going to work. And this is an awesome red flag for you right now. If you don't start to address these things now and she's not looking at her own growth process and committed to that, then it's eventually going to end. I guarantee it. That's my thought process on that.
Mute. Can I mute?
Damn mute button. Okay, so Matt, just wanted to reaffirm, thank you, Marci. Everything you said was epic. And Matt, I want to recap a couple things about that. So Matt, if you choose, as you continue to up level and go up and speed up, if she's not climbing or she's going 25 miles an hour and you're going 100 miles an hour, the distance is going to grow between you. So I highly encourage you never stop growing and expanding at the most rapid rate possible that's sustainable, but really enroll her into growing with you at the same rate and speed. And enroll her in jumping into some versions of coaching and personal development and that type of stuff because, and the other thing I want to reiterate about this is I would make some very clear communication and agreements right now. I'd say before I ever got married, I'd be like, okay, just to be clear, I'm into personal development and I'm an entrepreneur. This could mean me working 12 hours a day sometimes. This could mean me going off and doing retreats at times. This could mean me being gone for a week at a time, attending a training or putting on a training, etc. This could mean me continually reading books and improving and being committed and being driven and constantly committed to expanding and participating in mastermind groups and growing my business and this, that, and the other. Are you aware of this and are you on board with this and can you stand behind me through this if this is how it's going to be the rest of our life? Like before, rather than false advertising and trying to fake like you're not those things, and then be pissed off because she won't support you in those things, I would be having some very upfront conversations right now. Let us know if you have any questions, comments, or requests around that. And then also pay attention when I answer Jonathan's question about drift shift in the communication, especially the communication piece later on. That's going to be completely relevant to how you handle these things. Okay, so let's go to Darren. Darren, you asked about, you posted something on the board about, hey guys, I learned visually. I'm into graphics, and just it really helps if I can see something visual and know where I'm at. So anyone who's seen anything Darren does with his coaching and training, he's really good at this. He shows people, here's where we are, here's where we're going, here's this graph and these charts and all of this. So because he's that way, he does his work that way, and then Marci and I are the opposite. We're like, hey, let's go. And we're not those people, and so there's a little bit of a grinding for Darren in relation to us probably with that. So Darren, what I want you to do is create your own graph, because it's your genius and your nature. It'd be like scratching nails on the chalkboard for Marci and I to try to figure out how to create graphs and charts for you, because it's just not us. But if you...
Yeah, just like bullet points of a summary of where we spend our energy or the lessons for the week to focus on, that would be helpful. I guess I could do that myself. I just thought I'd give some feedback to see if that's something that you already had that I'd missed.
Okay, so let me explain the function of the group, just so that, and this is mostly for group number 2. Group number 1 is in such a sync, and they get it. You guys interact, you support each other, you're extremely active on the group and the board. Darren, I'm going to describe it to you, and then if you'll bullet point it as I describe it, that would be very helpful right now. So the whole object, and this is how creation works, is step number 1, we have to face what is. And so the step number 1 of badasses, we go, where are we in life with our health, our relationships, our finances, and our spirituality? So step number 1 was to go, where the hell are we? And so we did that. And then step number 2 was, okay, if that's where we're at, now let's accept that that's what is and accept responsibility for it. So step 2 is accept what is and accept responsibility for what is. So then once that's handled, we say, well, shit, if I created this, then what do I really want to create moving forward? So step number 3 is to choose what you really most want, which was where we went into 90-day targets. This is where we kept driving it home. What are your 90-day targets? What are your 90-day targets? What are your 90-day targets? Adjust this, adjust this, adjust this, and asking, are you clear on your 90-day targets? Are you clear on your 90-day targets? Are you clear on your 90-day targets? So if you're not clear on your 90-day targets and you're this far into the game, stop, call a timeout, and get clear on your 90-day targets. If you thought you were clear on your 90-day targets, but you've climbed the mountain to a new vantage point and you now see new things and new possibilities, stop, call a timeout, and get re-clarified on your 90-day targets. And don't just have 90-day targets for the sake of, hey, we said get 90-day targets. That is your purpose. That is your definiteness of purpose, that every fucking day you're waking up and saying, that's where I'm going. It's like you're lost in the jungle and you're going home or to some epic destination, and every fucking day when you wake up and you're rested from the night and you wake up, then you go, okay, we're heading to the promised land. Let's go. Let's gather up our shit and head to the promised land. So you get up and you drink your green drink and you take your supplements and you do whatever, you meditate and you get all in a place of power and you gather up your tools and you head forward to the promised land. That 90-day target is what keeps you focused and driven come hell or high water. So the way life works is we commit to something, that's greater than what we currently have. We've acknowledged where we're at. We've said, I want something greater than this. I created this, so therefore I can create what I really want. I choose that, and then we commit. Commitment is always the first step to every journey. So we commit. The next thing that happens is counter commitments show up. Competing commitments show up. So if I say, I'm getting 6-pack abs, sure as shit tonight, someone's going to offer me chocolate cake. And sure as shit, after I worked out today to get those 6-pack abs, tomorrow I'm going to be sore, and that voice in my head is going to be loud and clear telling me I'm too fucking sore to work out again. And everything else that has stopped me thus far from being what I want to be and having what I want to have will show up. We got the you bet your ass comments going on the side here. Got quite the stir going with our mine and Marci's Garrett impersonation parody.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So
I'm gonna do one of Marci.
So we've faced what was, we've accepted responsibility, we've chosen what we wanted, and then we've committed, which is the fourth step. And the second we commit, the counter commitments show up. Everything, then the counter commitments are everything that has stopped us from having that so far. So like I committed to Ironman. Everything that's kept me from being an Ironman thus far, I know will fucking be in my face when I commit to being an Ironman. The shit that says, oh, you've been working out hard, you don't need to, you're tired, you're sore, this hurts, this, that, any knowledge, everything that I haven't had, knowledge, skill sets, mindsets, nutrition, training, conditioning, stories, all the other stuff that happens inside of me that's kept me from being an Ironman thus far, I will get to face and become bigger than in order to actually accomplish being an Ironman. You don't just fucking declare you're an Ironman and then you are. Or anything else that you want to accomplish that's great in your life. So once you've faced what is, accepted the responsibility for that, chosen what you really want that's next, because our purpose in life is to expand over and over again into the next greatest version of ourselves, to never feel like we've arrived, but to say, cool, I've arrived at this plateau. Now where do I want to go? Oh, let's go to that one. Boom, we get up there, we realize there's another one. Okay, let's go to that one. Boom, we head up there and realize there's another one. And that's in all the levels of our life. So our purpose is infinite expansion. And so the whole purpose of Badass Ascension is to infinitely expand and to align with our truest nature. So when we have you pick 90-day targets, it's not because that's the cure-all, end-all. It's because that'll fucking drive you to the next peak. Through all the shit that you get to expand past and become bigger than, so that you can move past it. Now, I'm going to draw you a quick diagram. If I can erase my daughter's fancy artwork here.
Funny when that comes to place.
Not dark enough. Okay, my daughter's had her way with my markers. Let me grab my new ones. Okay, so here you are. And there's a wall. And you're going along and you said, I'm going to be an Ironman. And you're coming along on the journey and boom, you hit a wall. It says you don't have the conditioning to do it. You don't have the knowledge to nourish your body in order to do it. You don't have the skill sets, the mindsets, the conditioning, the training, the capacity currently to do Ironman, so you've got a wall. What most people do when they hit these walls is they go, oh shit, I hit a wall. Oh well, I guess I won't do Ironman. It's not that important anyway. And so they stop. Now, let's take this out of Ironman context. We could be talking about your epic romantic relationship. We could talk about building your epic multi-million-dollar business. We could be talking about expanding your spiritual capacity to the greatest heights you can barely even imagine, or anything, and you're heading on that journey, and you will hit that wall, period. You will hit those counter commitments. If I commit to getting six-pack abs, I will be offered chocolate cake and ice cream and excess food and soreness and everything else that's ever stopped me from accomplishing that. So in the journey, if I remain committed and when I hit the wall, I choose to shift and say, okay, how can I overcome this wall? What is it I don't know? What is it I don't, skills, mindsets, whatever, that's making this wall be a wall for me. And so then I train harder and I condition myself. And then I learn some stuff about nutrition. And I shift some mindsets. And I have all these breakthroughs. And pretty soon, I become a bigger person as a result of the adjustments that I've made. Now, this is no longer a wall that stops me. It's simply a step that I step up on. I can hop over that wall any day because of my capacity and my choice to consciously and deliberately expand my capacity every single day. So when we ask you to interact on these forums, it's not to waste your time or go through the motions. When we ask you to set a 90-day target, it's not just to have some stupid fucking goals and go through the motions. It's to set a 90-day target that says, I'm going to that peak, and every fucking morning it's aligned with my passion and purpose and my definiteness of purpose in such a way that no matter what happens, I will move forward. Because the second I set out on this journey, the storm will set in, and the clouds will cover, and I will get cold and hungry and tired, and it'll be dark, and I will have lost my way, and I'll be like, now, why the fuck was I heading down this road? This is intense. Like, maybe I should just go back. And I guarantee you, anyone who's actually gone deep with me, or Marci, or in this process, you've thought, what the fuck did I get myself into? This seems harder. It seemed easier back there. Why am I doing this again? Because when you fucking choose greatness, you don't just fucking fly and soar into greatness and it just lands in your lap. There's obstacles and shit that you face that require you to become a bigger person, a more capable person. And so you choose in your 90-day target stuff that aligns with your passion and your purpose and your deeper, like, why the fuck are you here? And does this assist you in accomplishing your passion and purpose in the world? And is it aligned with that? And is that driving you forward into that, expanding into what you value most? Not just to get shit. We're not just here in Badass Ascension to get shit. Yeah, we want you to have plenty of money and passion and sex and epic businesses and relationships and all of that. But beyond all of that, we want you to reach your greatest potential and fulfill your passion and purpose. So you commit to a 90-day target, one, to reach those targets and get those outcomes and objectives. That's all good. But behind that, you want them to be aligned with that deeper passion and purpose that expands you into the next greatest version of yourself and shows you greater possibilities, because the higher up the mountain you get, the better the vantage point gets, the more opportunities you have. And the higher the frequency and vibration is, the more better the resources are, and the more resourceful the relationships are. So up here, what was available down here, it's like a radio station. If I tuned into 92.5 on my radio, there's a certain level and frequency and vibration that is associated with money and relationships and everything in life that happens down here. There's a certain level of income and people and conversation and resources that's available at this frequency. But when I become this bigger person, and now I'm up here, because I was big and I stepped up there, and what used to be walls for me is now just steps for me because of how much bigger of a person I've become. And the higher frequency I'm at, the better vantage point I have, the higher the amount of resources I have. I now know people with way more money, way better ideas, way more powerful resources and connections and influence and everything else that's available. And that's just one step. I just showed you one step, and that's an infinite journey. So when we're setting 90-day targets, guys, it isn't just, hey, what kind of car and bank account would you like in 90 days? It's who do you want to be in 90 days? And as a result of that, what benefits and outcomes would you like to receive from that process? So once you've faced what is, accepted responsibility, chosen what you really most want, which is setting your 90-day targets and committing to that, this is badass ascension. It's saying, I'm committing to get there in 90 days. Then we go to work and we reverse engineer that and say, okay, every day, we're not going to focus on swinging a home run today, because the people who focus on swinging home runs strike out most of the time. Instead, we're going to focus on hitting singles every single day. Every day we're not going to try to get to the top of the mountain today. We're just going to make our progression at a healthy, sustainable rate today that will bring us closer to the top of the mountain, rather than taking us, if we tried so hard to get to the top today that I tore my hamstring and twisted my ankle, then my progress is screwed moving forward. Instead, I know I'm heading to the top of the mountain, but my focus is on taking a sustainable pace that stretches me and expands me and leaves me tougher for the next day, but doesn't get me injured or taken out of the game. So, once we've set those 90-day targets, we reverse engineer that. I mean, this program, Badass Ascension, is not just some random shit we threw together out of the blue, just copying somebody else's program. This is fucking 10 years worth of trial and error in understanding human consciousness, human performance, and what it takes to actually get on track, gain clarity, and stay on track and move in the fastest, easiest, most sustainable way to success. And yet currently, it's like we've had a hard time getting level 2 to fucking engage consistently and participate fully in the program. So everyone that's watching, I hope you leave here with a clear understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it, so you will buy in and fully engage. And for those in level 1, to allow this to be a recommitment and a reminder so you'll continue with the game and re-engage even more fully. So once we're clear, we've set our 90-day targets. We reverse engineer and say, okay, what do I got to do every day to reach that target? Well, we know that if you're going to reach a financial goal, you're going to fucking sell every day. Period. If you don't sell every day, that's like being a farmer who doesn't eat and then he doesn't have the energy to plant seeds tomorrow. Pretty soon that fucking model dies. So you sell every day. You set aside, and this, Morris, this ties into your calendar system that you asked about. How do I block out my calendar? You block out fucking sales time every morning. So first thing in the morning, you block out my power process that gets me in a place of power before I head up the mountain towards my fucking promised land. Once that's handled, we say, okay, let's pick some fruit so we have food for the journey. Which means we go have sales conversations to generate income right now, so we always have money to move forward easily without struggle and strain. Then we say, okay, not only am I going to be hungry today, but I just ate for today. That's good because I had sales and I made sales and put money in. I'm going to be hungry tomorrow too. So instead of waiting and hoping that money lands in my lap tomorrow, I'm going to market today so that I will have money tomorrow, that I will have people to talk to tomorrow to harvest fruit from. As the farmer, it means I'm going to plant seeds today so that I can pick fruit tomorrow. I'm not just thinking about now, I'm thinking about tomorrow too. I'm taking a proactive approach. So I handle my power process in the morning. I get all of my meditation, study, exercise, green smoothie, investment in my relationships, all that handled first thing in the morning, not scattered throughout the day. Like half of you are probably scattering it throughout the day and making it a stress. Just fucking devote the time first thing in the morning to handle it all so that you already won your day before you even start the fucking day. Like, by the time everyone else is getting up, you already won. It's game over. You're just fucking playing now. So you handle your core 5 power process and your accountability. Don't wait till the end of the day to handle any of this shit. Seriously, win, then play. It's not a mistake. We're not having you do core 4 because we want you to be busy doing shit. We want you to be in power so you get big fucking results and tell the whole rest of the world how our program helped you get big fucking results so that our marketing is easy. We don't have to sell ourselves hard because you just go say, fuck, that's the best thing I ever done. I joined that program. I did what I said. I got big ass results. And people say, shit, I want to do it. The best thing we can do is get you guys big ass results. That's why it's important for me to take this time right now to get you to see why we're doing what we're doing so you'll actually fucking do it. So you handle your core 5 power process and you've already won your day because you are in clarity. You are inspired. If you've meditated and you've worked out and you've fueled your body with the purest fuel on the planet and you've checked in with your accountability buddy and you've invested in your relationships and during your meditation you received inspiration about what you were creating for the day and you've already journaled and studied and listened to a book that gave you some killer insights about what was next in your business or your life. Boom, 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 you're on fire. Now you're just moving forward with power up the mountain the rest of the day, making maximum progress because you've fueled your mind, your body, and your spirit. And every day you're expanding and becoming greater. So every day I'm more fit. I'm not just fucking doing a workout every day so that, hey, I did a workout. No, every day I am more of an Ironman. Every fucking day. Every day I have more capacity spiritually than I did the day before. Every day I'm advancing in my relationship, in my bank account, my business. It's not just going through the motions like this. It's a climb. If it's not a climb, what the hell are we doing? If we're not expanding and elevating, what are we doing? So then, Darren, once you've set your 90-day targets that align with that bigger passion and purpose of why are you here on the planet? What are you here to accomplish? What would drive you through hell and high water? It's been called a holy cause. Something that would drive me no matter how hard the obstacles are, no matter how challenging the journey becomes, no matter how much resistance I run into, that nothing could stop me. Literally, fucking Satan himself and a semi and a train and a lion, a saber-toothed tiger, nothing could stop me from getting to the top of that mountain because I'm that driven to this holy cause that just means so much to me that literally I will not allow anything to stop me. So it serves as that, but it also serves in another analogy as the lighthouse. It's when you head across that valley and the storms set in and you can no longer see the goal or the outcome or the target that you were heading for, you can at least see the light. That is the lighthouse over there that you can say, yeah, it's dark right now and it's hard right now and I'm cold and I'm tired right now, but that light right there, that's where I'm heading. That's what keeps you on course, not getting distracted. So how many times have I been approached by people, hey, we've got this amazing network marketing company. It's a killer opportunity, ground floor. And it's simple for me to check in because I go, okay, does this pull me towards my purpose or away from my purpose? If it's towards my purpose, let's rock and roll. If it's away from my purpose, no thanks. It's real quick. I don't even waste 30 minutes on the call. I just say, okay, what's your product? And they're like, well, the product don't matter. It's the ground floor opportunity and the people involved. I'm like, what's your product? It's a soap. It's a lotion. It's a potion. I'm not interested. Thank you. This hour-long conversation just became 3 minutes. And I just said no so that I could say yes to something else. So knowing that definiteness of purpose keeps us from getting distracted and sidetracked into all the other bullshit that tries to pull us away, because, like I said, when you commit to something epic, everything that ever happens to get you off course, distractions, seductions, romance, sometimes you're like, hey, I'm going to kill it in my business, and right about that time, someone sexy and really attractive shows up in your world, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, business, what was I saying? Now, woo! And now you're completely distracted with over here because you're not fucking on purpose, and you're not having a checks and balances system about who the fuck you are, where you're going, why you're going there, and you're not fucking committed to it, you're just fucking interested in it. In life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you're committed to. And there's a big fucking difference between interested and committed. Committed means I do whatever the fuck it takes, no matter what gets in my way. But the problem is you're not going to get there through willpower. It's not like something you commit to that you hate, and then somehow you're going to willpower your way to do that. It's like trying to get someone to do a sport that they hate. Why not have them get fit doing a sport that they love? You know, would you try to convince a client to get fit eating food they hate, or would you find food that they love that will support their nutrition goals? It changes the dynamic and the journey tremendously when you choose what you love and what you want and what will drive you through hell and high water, so that you're moving away from willpower and driven internally from the passion and purpose that's behind what you've chosen to accomplish. So if your 90-day targets don't align that way, time to go redesign. If they do, great. You've accomplished step number 3 or 4 or whatever that is. Now, once that's done, then that's why we do the Core 5 process, because the Core 5, number 1, gets you in a place of personal power every single day so that you already won and you go into the ring from a place of power. Number 2, the Core 5 process expands you every single day into that bigger person, so that when the obstacles come, it's easy as fuck for you to jump over them because you're no longer that small person. Number 3, everything in the Core 5, tracking and measuring. So why the fuck are we tracking and measuring what you're doing from the Core 5 process and your sales and marketing? We don't fucking do it for our health, and we're not having you do it for busy work. We're doing it because what gets tracked and measured gets done and improved. This is why, Darren, you love graphs and charts for your people. You can prove results. And so if all I did is say to all of you, okay, your homework this week is to run a mile a day, and we just left it at that, you would just run a mile a day. But if I told you your homework this week is run a mile a day and mark down how long it took you to run it. That's all I told you. Just mark and track how long it took you to run that mile. And I didn't tell you to try to go faster. I didn't tell you to compete. I didn't tell you to try to improve. I just said run a mile and mark down how long it took you. Your mind, without me telling you anything else, would automatically think 12 minutes. I wonder if I could do it in 11:55. And then your mind the next day would think, if I did it in 11:55, I wonder if I could do it in 11:30. And so you would automatically improve by simply tracking that one metric. So the reason why we're having you track your Core 5 and be accountable to buddies is that instead of the group being flat and dead because everyone's showing up half-assed, everyone's involved, no man left behind, because everyone's engaged, everyone's participating, everyone's fucking taking care of each other, calling each other out if they're not active, checking up on each other if someone's falling behind, because you're on the fucking battlefield. Are you going to let all your buddies fucking die and shrivel up? and then you're all alone on the battlefield because you don't fucking show up worth a shit for yourself or others? Or when you see it's fucking dead, are you going to take responsibility, reach out and say, hey, where is everybody? We're in the fucking battlefield. Is your head in the game? Come on. Where are you at? Where are you stuck? Where you got lost? You're in a fucking daze. Wake up. Bam, 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 bam. Hey, wake up. Get back on track. You're fucking dozing off and wandering over there. You're going to get shot, and so are we. I got to know you have my back. Just like I got yours right now. So this is why we have accountability buddies. This is why we have tracking. This is why we have measuring. Because you will constantly improve in every area that matters. Your health, your spirituality, your relationships, your finances, your business, your sales, your marketing. Well, that way we know where you're at. So guys, where I got this from was Weight Watchers. Dumbass system. Everything's broken except one thing. They have accountability amongst their peers. And when a person writes down, I ate chocolate cake on Wednesday, and then on fucking next Monday, they're checking in with the group, and they've gained a pound, and they've gained an inch, and they have to tell the group, yeah, I ate chocolate cake, and I didn't work out. Something happens in their head that instead of playing the same bullshit games they play with themselves that allow them to get off course, knowing that they're going to check in with a group of their peers and be held accountable, they say no to the chocolate cake and yes to the fucking workout, and their life changes. The online forums we've asked you to participate in are no joke. They're not there to occupy time or fucking waste your time or energy. They're there so that you guys will interact and keep each other on course. And then we have a weekly accountability call that copies what works about Weight Watchers, that has you being accountable to your peers about where the fuck you are, where you said you were going. We didn't tell you where to go. We asked you where you wanted to go. I didn't tell you who to be or how to be or what the fuck to do or why to go there. I asked you, what do you want? And I said, okay, commit to daily actions that will get you there. Then I said, okay, be willing to be held accountable and show up every week on your accountability call to be held accountable in a community of your peers to accomplishing that. And then what we discover is human nature, just being held accountable isn't enough. Why? Because if you don't get at the limitations in your own head, your limiting stories and beliefs and self-defeating patterns, if you don't break through that shit, then you're in a willpower battle on the drama triangle trying to force yourself to do shit you don't want to do. And then ultimately you give up and you fade out and you say, guys, I've decided to move on and no longer be committed to reaching my holy cause. It's not working. Yeah, it's not fucking working because you're not fucking working it. So instead, you show up and you're accountable. You've got tracking systems in place. You're tracking and you're measuring, so it's getting done and it's improving. Your sales, your marketing. When your sales and marketing improve, your income improves. When you invest in your relationships daily, your relationships improve. When you invest in your body and fuel with only the best, your energy and vitality and clarity improves. When you meditate every day and work out every day, your health and your vitality and your clarity and your power improves. And when you approach life from that place, you kick ass and you get results. And you become a bigger person and a better person, a more powerful person every single day, and you master your head shit that stops you from being the next greatest version of yourself. So we show up every week on the accountability call, and then we notice when you get off course or you play some bullshit pattern that keeps you stuck and cycling in the same old bullshit patterns, then Kyle calls you out on it. Hey, what about this? Have you considered this? Have you considered that? What about that? Boom, breakthrough, 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 breakthrough. And you get past it. And you stop the cycle, and it no longer hinders you. And that wall that was fucking stopping you just became a stepping stone. That's why we added breakthrough work. This is what distinguishes us from all the other bullshit strategy and technique-based masterminds and groups and programs you've been involved in. They don't take time to fucking remove your internal blocks, which is the #1 thing holding you back. They just give you some strategies and wonder what the fuck's wrong with you when you don't implement them. We'll give you the strategies and techniques. We'll give you the skill sets and mindsets. We'll help you set your targets and hold you accountable to them. Then we'll fucking break you through your shit that tries to stop you from accomplishing it. And then we'll discover, and I'll ask you, hey, what do you want to learn on Wednesday? Because I know that you need additional skill sets and mindsets to go to the next level over and over and over again, and that skill sets and mindsets are critical pieces, and so we show up on Wednesday to handle that. Again, guys, this program was not designed randomly. This is designed after years and years and years and years of field work and experience and trial and error. This is the most optimally designed program I have ever seen in the world, and I have spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars attending everyone else's shit, and we've got something unique here if you will participate fully. Then on the forum, we've got guys in your group that, so one of the other keys is associations. Who are you associating with? Who? So you've heard the principles of the people that you most surround yourself with. If you take their income and average it out, that's your income. Well, that's true. And it's not only true about your income, it's true about your relationships, and it's true about your spirituality, and it's true about your health. If you hang out with fat people, you're fat. If you hang out with broke people, you're broke. If you hang out with people with shitty relationships, you got shitty relationships. So you've got a community here. We've purposely created a community that allows you to be surrounded by people who are committed to their spirituality, their health, their finances, and their relationships, so that you can interact and share and lift each other up so that you can create an environment that is the optimal environment. And I've talked to you about the two acorns. One's like the one that you plant in the asphalt and it can't ever fucking become anything because it keeps getting driven over and doesn't get the nutrients it needs. And the other one who's planted in firm soil, perfect fertile soil with all the nutrients and water and sunlight it needs. These groups are designed perfectly to surround you with your ideal network and community of people that are authentic, that are vulnerable, that are real, that are committed to integrity, growth, expansion, business, all the stuff that you're committed to, they're committed to. So we have guys in the group that have fitness goals, and we have fitness experts in the group, but you guys aren't fucking serving each other because you're fucking lost in your own little worlds. And we have guys that are kicking ass financially, and other people that want to learn and grow and expand into that, but you're not tapping into each other because you're still playing your bullshit games of separation and division and not engaging fully. So we have associations, we have accountability, we have tracking, we have measuring. The principle of exchange creates wealth. The more you guys exchange value within your individual forums and each other, the more abundant each one of you becomes. So again, the steps. Step number 1, face what is. Step number 2, accept responsibility for what is and for what you want. Step number 3, choose what you want. Step number 4, commit to creating what you want, meaning get clarity in your 90-day targets and have them align with your passion and purpose in such a way, with such a deep why, that nothing will stop you. Step number 5, reverse engineer into your daily actions that you're being held accountable to each week. Don't just set daily actions that someone said, okay, what do we do around here? It's the what's the core 5 thing? What is it? That's your fucking life, is what it is. And yes, there's tracking sheet, and it's easily downloadable, and some people print it out and like to write it out, and some people just keep it on their computer screen on their desktop and type it in every day, and you track and measure those results every single day in all of those areas so that every day you know you're on course and it's not left to chance. And then you report back every week so that you know you're kept on course, and when you start to wander, you get back on course and back on course and back on course. And then you have Marci and I meet you every Wednesday giving you the tools and skills and resources you need to keep moving forward. And then every single day, so instead of waiting every week to meet with us, interact with us every fucking day on the forum. Interact with each other every day on the forum so that you're on course every day, every moment of every day, instead of off suffering alone in some dark fucking corner of the battlefield, wondering why you feel all alone and why it's so hard and why you waste 3 days a week in your own fucking internal masturbation. So you track and measure every day. You report back. So again, the steps. Face what is, accept what is, choose what you want, commit to it, take action every day, and then keep showing up, interacting, exchanging. Matt, does that help you, sorry, Darren and others, does that, but Darren specifically, does that help you be more clear about what we're up to and why we're up to it?
Yeah, that was great just to run over that, so thanks.
Awesome. Any other questions around that? Okay, Brian sent in a message. Do we have an Excel spreadsheet tracking of this? Yes, we do. Brian, post in the group and say, Kyle, please post the Excel spreadsheet tracking of the Core 5 process. Marci, do you have anything else to add to all of this?
You just ranted off on excellence, brother, so I just sat here and let it rain.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so Brandon, video series. The question was, how do I know what content? I've got a professional video guy, epic dude. I can create a great exchange with him. How do I know what to put in my video content for my video funnel? So my first advice would be look at a couple of other people's of what they've done and see what resonates for you. So you might look at Garrett's, you might look at Ryan Stuman, you might look at Marci and I and Jonathan are releasing one in the next week here for Badass Breakthrough. And there's many styles. Sometimes it's just teaching and empowering and giving them a taste of, holy shit, this guy's a badass. Other times it's teasers and being very strategic. I like the one that Ryan Stuman suggested most recently, which was a one-part video. So rather than a video series, one-part video that converts over. So just structuring one video that gets them to take action and gets them on the phone with you very quickly. Right now we've got like a 7 or 8 or 9 part video series, so we're going long with one that we're testing. We're going to test a few others as well. The guy's name is Ryan Stuman, Julie. He's quite a harsh dude. He's well, he just whatever. He's very blunt and direct, and he smokes pot, and he's blunt and about, like, he's like, yeah, I do drugs, I get drunk, I do women, and I've gone to jail, and this is me, and I'm a badass sales dude, and you'll like me anyway, and a lot of people do, and he makes a lot of money teaching people how to sell shit. So, but you can follow him on Facebook. He may not be exactly the guy that you love, but he's got a lot to teach on certain topics. But some of my favorites are topics that I like to use in those are, you know, what are the top myths that people believe? So I might go and say, you know, I might have a video number 1, the top 5 myths most people believe about what it takes to attract women. Number 1 is people always think that you need to be sexy to attract the sexiest women. Truth is, you need to be good at conversating and connecting. What they really want is connection, not some egotistical prick. Lie number 2 or myth number 2 is blah, blah, blah. So Jonathan says, check out Little B's funnel for a review on this technique. So yeah, check that out. He works with Garrett, he's a tattoo guy. I'm sure that Garrett and Jeremy helped him set up a funnel, but you can check that out. So basically you can show like the lies and truths that people believe that starts to establish you. But at the end of the day, in any funnel, what you're establishing is, here's your prison, here's your paradise. There's a gap between this prison that you're in and the paradise that you want. There's this Grand Canyon between where you want to go. So here you are on the south side of the Grand Canyon, in the desert. You see the oasis on the north side of the Grand Canyon, but there's this big-ass Grand Canyon. You don't have the skill sets, the tools, the knowledge, or the abilities to get through that Grand Canyon to the other side to experience that oasis. And that sucks for you. But the good news is I have a map, I have the knowledge, and I have the skill sets and the abilities to get you there. So if you're interested, do this. If you're done staying stuck in the desert on the south side, you're ready to be in the oasis on the north side, do this. Message me, click this link, fill out this form, fill out this application, watch this video, whatever you tell them to do, deliberately think of a path that you're guiding them that converts them. Is it going to be one video that gets them on a phone call with you and that's it? Is it going to be one video that sells them on giving you their name and email number in a form that then sends them to a video series? So now you've captured their name and email so that you can now email them and continue to drip market to them over the course of months and convert them over time. So think through, who is my client, what do I want them to do, and how am I going to most effectively get them there? So, and you could film a video. Sometimes you could film a video that you teach an amazing thing, it's super intense and amazing, and it ends halfway, and you say, to get the other half of the video, fill out the form to the right, and then boom, you'll get the other half of the video. So that's another way. If it's captivating enough that they're willing to give you their name and email, now you've got them the ability to continue to market to them long term. But really, I guess it's both. I love getting them on the phone as soon as possible because I'm going to have a lot better, like never send a piece of paper to do your dirty work. Never send, don't expect something through email or someone who's a contractor who sends an estimate and that's just competing on price. It's so stupid as a contractor to send a piece of paper that has numbers to somebody and then let that person compare your number to 5 other people's numbers and make the decision on price. What a retarded approach. Why wouldn't I hand deliver that and say, or find a way to convey the value versus the price? Why would I ever compete on price? Now I'm just a commodity. So instead, I find a way to get in a conversation with them so that I can face their fears and objections and get them to see the value of why they don't want to go with douchebag and get a half-assed result, and why they would pay a premium to go with me and to convert that over. So yes, so there's a lot of internet marketers out there. The far majority of internet marketers out there are unhealthy, unhappy, chicken shit bastards who aren't willing to do inner work. So they sit for year upon year trying to master the art of sales copy so that they can sit behind a computer screen, hiding behind their keyboard, never ever having to talk to somebody or connect to somebody or face their fear of rejection, so that they can send a piece of paper to do their dirty work for them. If you have the ability and the willingness to do your shit and face people and connect with people and provide true value, get on the phone and just close some epic shit by building relationships instead of thinking that a paper or a trick or a strategy is going to do it for you. Did that answer your question? Marci, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I do. So a couple thoughts and ideas for you, Brandon, is doing all the different video that I've done and all the different funnels that I've created. They kind of, Chris covered a lot, and it's almost like the perfect sales process. You going, what's their pain? What's the, what are they committed? What's the pleasure going to be? And what's the gap? And you're the gap, obviously, just like that Grand Canyon to get them there. But I just want to share with you some things that have been more successful for me in utilizing in putting in videos or ways that people can find out information. First off, like a lot of them that are super successful, starting off with a real raw story of yourself. Like if they can connect to you and know why you do what you do, others, like what positions you to be someone that you are an expert, that there's a reason why you're passionate about doing what you're doing. So if you're just like, hey, I'm Brandon Marshall and this is what I do, or are you finding yourself in this place, but to connect it to, so Mind Body 90, if you go to that one, you see like I'm like bawling at the beginning. The first video, I'm just, crying. and basically sharing the story of what I experienced, which led me to the journey and the path, which gave me the freedom to now live what I know, and then and it taps into that pain of what they're experiencing. So that's a good example. That one's always been really powerful. The other one that and then just going through the same system Chris just said, where you're tapping on their pain, then what's the pleasure, where do they want to go to, how do you fill in the gap, and get that commitment, and that's fill out the application, whatever it is. The other one that's been really powerful and successful is, and I told Darren to do this, and he's had a great feedback with this also, is taking a successful client and doing a TV show with them, doing an interview with them. So if you, like Jody Jealous, she actually, because she's a funnel girl, she asked me, she wanted to experiment this. She said, will you do a little TV interview with me? We did a 30-minute show, or I think ours was actually even an hour, and I'd say 30 minutes is awesome. Did a 30-minute show basically sharing a bunch of little golden nuggets of where she was at the beginning and how her, income quadrupled in 90 days. She was dating her dream guy. She shed 30 pounds. Her whole life shifted. The new program that was really inside her came out of her. And so just sharing that through an interview process, and then we just had on there, like, I think an application and like maybe a little other clip of me or something, and that got a ton of response of people, like, because they'll trust hearing it from someone else more so because they want someone else's opinion of their testimonial. I had one more for you. I'm remembering. Okay. So then the most successful is the process that I do now, and the process that we've found by hands down always works. It seems like is someone messaged me on Facebook or whatever, and I offer them. People say, like, just right now, people are like, Marci, how long have you been in business? Or they ask me questions, or I'm interested in what you have. And they're like, what's your website? I could just send them to the website and hope that they go through my video series and hope that they apply. But instead, taking control is you always get their information. Or you always create that connection. So what I always say is, like, first step is to go internal and see what's really going on inside you. I'd be happy to give you a gift, a link that's not accessible to the public. So we don't have this accessible to the public for this very reason, that will allow you to get some deep insight as to what are some of your blocks and triggers and barriers. If you're really ready to look at that, then I'd be happy to have my team get that to you. And they're always like, well, yeah, thanks. So on this link, we specifically send them something that says, hey, this is lots of fun stuff. So you might create something that has the different variations of what you do. If you end up doing retreats, if you end up doing, it might show little clips of different experiences, but for us, it's like they get a couple of my workouts. There's what's your relationship to food coaching. There's one of my visualizations. There's a couple mindset coachings, and then there's two powerful things on there that are huge for them seeing their triggers. So we say, hey, you got all this awesomeness, but here, these two things are the two things that we recommend you get to go through. When can you commit to doing that by? And then when they say, well, I could watch that by Friday, then my team says, awesome, okay, so Friday at what time? And we'll connect and we'll dig up what really came up for you. And so they're like, 5:30, awesome, okay, 5:30, got your number, okay, here's the link. And then they send them the link, and so they go through the 24-minute audio, what's your relationship to food. They go for my webinar, Get Off the Roller Coaster Weight Loss, which is 45 minutes. So we tell them you're looking at about an hour and a half of commitment time before we talk. And so we've already now committed them to watching an hour and a half of my content, a time, a date, a phone number. They have an appointment before they even got the link. And then they get the link, and then they watch it, and then by the time that we talk to them, they're already sold because they hear they hear what I do. So that's the most successful strategy that I have as far as allowing people to go through the process. So when Darren and I, if you guys saw the video we did the other day, where we worked out the group at 3-day shred, and this guy walks up to us, and it's like, what kind of workout is that? That looks badass. Or he didn't say badass, that's my words. But he's like, what is that? And I said, it's Marci Lockdown. It's crazy stuff, right? And he started asking us simply about his Achilles tendon, how to heal that. And I instantly went to his internal emotions, what I knew that signified, and he was crying within 2 minutes. And so then we instantly, I'm like, to assist him, I said, you know what, let me get your information. My assistant was right there. I said, let Cammie get your information. We'll send you a link. It's got a couple things on it that are going to really help you look at why you have these emotional blocks that is showing up in the Achilles tendon and holding you back. I said, if you want that. And he's like, yeah. So they opt in, we give him the stuff, and he's already got an appointment to talk to my sales guy tomorrow. And thinks like, the world of us. So the process of the more you can, the whole idea is give them the information that's going to make them see the value of what you have. Right? So, you know, I might post something on Facebook and it's like my goddess video, and then all of a sudden all these women are like, oh my gosh, goddess is amazing, what's that? But that little promo video, it looks badass and cool, but it's not going to sell anybody because they got to go internal inside what's going on. So you make your video funnel where they know who you are and why you do what you do. Why do you think Garrett gets such a big following? Is because he's super ass passionate. And so you being passionate, you sharing your story of like, this is why I do what I do. This is where I came from. And I looked around, I saw this massive gap, and I'm like so blessed to have this freedom now. So are you one of these guys, and you share the pain, and you dig into that pain and what it's going to continue to cost them? If Darren would not be selling guys that on high-end stuff if they just were coming to him for the body. It's shifting to what the cost is that they're not living in the body, and they're like sacrificing their relationships and their energy and their business and their bank account and the years that they're going to have on their life. You got to dig into that pain, then allow there to be, how do I get then to the pleasure that I want in that gap? And that gap is you. So if you're, and you know, and then that's with the application and whatnot. But those are my 3 pieces of feedback for what's worked really well with me.
Epic, Marci. Thank you. So I'm going to go on further, Brandon. So, make this note, everybody. This is everyone asking about sales and everyone wondering about marketing. Know this. People buy emotionally. They justify logically. They buy emotionally. What does this mean? It means when you record your video series, Brandon, it must trigger emotion. And one of the best ways that, so you look at and you're asking, well, how do I get Facebook groups to interact and engage? Well, the more authentic a person is, the more that person inspires others to be authentic. And so the more fake and well-positioned and well-mannered that person is, then everyone's going to follow suit. But if that person is just like letting it all rip and posting one-take videos and just being themselves, then everyone else will go, hey, that's cool. I want to just be myself. And so half the reason why, so like Garrett's whole formula, real, raw, and relevant, that is completely relevant. So, like, it's very, very powerful. So when you think about what content should I put in, you could write the best fucking content in the world for your video series or your marketing or your sales conversations, and it don't mean shit if it's not real, raw, and relevant. And if you're not authentic, and most of it's the way you show up. So when I sold door-to-door back in the day, there was a guy that was out selling almost everybody easily, and he said over and over, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not, and everyone's like, well, what do you say? What do you say? He's like, I'm telling you, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So while everyone else is trying to figure out what to say, he was saying it right. It didn't matter what he said, he was just saying it right. And he was saying it in such a way that it triggered an emotional response. So he would be like, so he would talk about an alarm system for a house, and he would make his pitch, and it wasn't even the pitch or what he said, it was how he said it. It'd be like, so obviously this is a no-brainer. The Joneses did it, and the whatevers did it, and the Johnsons did it, and everyone else did it, and this is an amazing deal. So obviously this is a no-brainer, and everyone's wanting to do this and trying to jump on board. But the question is whether or not I can actually do this for you. I'm going to have to see if I can get you qualified first. Qualified? Well, what does it take to get qualified? He just made a sale just by his attitude and the way he was presenting it versus talking, trying to sell them. He just had an attitude of, well, obviously this is a no-brainer. It's just a matter of whether or not I can get you qualified. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Now, real, raw, relevant. What does this mean? Real means tell the fucking truth. Be authentic. Be real. Second one is raw. Be raw, meaning share shit that stimulates an emotional response. Share stuff that is raw and unedited, and it stimulates something inside of them and brings them alive instead of just the norm. Otherwise, you're just part of the white noise. And then relevant is it's particularly helps your ideal client get what they want. Doesn't matter if it's relevant to your mom or your dad or your uncle or your cousin or your best friend. It matters if it helps your client get what your client wants. It doesn't even matter if it's relevant as to what your client needs. It might be exactly what your client needs to get what they want, but they don't know that, or they're not willing to face that, or they're not interested in that. And so you try to sell them all fucking day long on what they need, and they're not interested because it's not relevant to what they want. So know your client and what they want and speak to that. Help them see that by doing what I tell you to do, you're going to get what you want. Now, when we talk about presenting, whether it be video or on stage or in a sales conversation, he who loves himself wins. So look at Marci. She can get on a video and say, I needed to pee, that's why I was late. Or she can say, fucking fantastical. Or look at this, I was like dancing with my shirt off in my Batman underwear. Or any fucking thing she wants to say or do, she can do. So what does this tell people subconsciously? It says, she's free, I want that freedom. Same with Garrett. Garrett can get on and say fuck and say pussy, and they say, I want that freedom. Because he has the freedom to do something they haven't given themselves the freedom to do. Now, it don't have to be about fuck and pussy, and it don't have to be about Batman underwear. It can be absolutely about that you're able to cry on video, and they're not. It could be about that you're willing to not, a woman might be willing to get on video without her makeup on and not all spruced up, and most people are not. It could be that you're willing to be authentic and vulnerable and show your weakness when most people are trying to project some image of perfection. It might be your humanity that your client connects with. It might be that you're able to go loud, and they're like, wow, that's cool. He's able to get loud and really get into it, and he's able to go soft and gentle. So the person who wins is the person that can go to the front of the stage, the back of the stage. So you watch someone's body language who's scared to be on stage, and you bring them up on stage, watch them try to hide at the back of the stage. Watch them try to turn sideways and talk quiet. The person who's hiding at the back of the stage, holding the mic like this, talking quiet and not looking you in the eye, you don't trust that person, and you don't get the idea that they're free, and you don't want to buy shit from them. But the person that will walk to the fucking back of the stage, and to the right of the stage, and to the left of the stage, and to the front of the stage, and who will raise their hands like this, and who will talk loud and point and look you straight in the eye and stare your ass down, and then get soft and quiet and cry and be authentic and vulnerable and admit their weakness and be real and be raw and be relevant. People want that, even if they might not even know what the fuck you're selling. They just see your freedom, and subconsciously they say, whatever the fuck he's got, I want it. You look at Marci and I, strategically speaking, we were at Traffic and Conversions, probably the biggest marketing event of the year, anywhere. Or what, I don't even know if that's true, but it's an incredibly high-powered marketing event. We make more money than 90% of people in the room, and we know less about marketing than 90% of the people in the room, logistically speaking. But we know a fuckload more about being authentic and loving ourselves and showing up in power and being real and raw and speaking to people. Just like Steve Jobs knew, it wasn't that he knew so much more about computers than anybody. There's millions of computer nerds out there that know so damn much about computers, but they suck with people, they suck with themselves, they don't love and value themselves, they don't know how to inspire people, they don't know sales, they don't know marketing. What separated Steve Jobs wasn't that he was better at computers, it's that he was better at people. know your people and speak to them in a way that moves them, and free yourself so that they automatically want to follow you because of your presence. It's who you're being and how you're being. This, you know, Jonathan's posting passion videos every day. Jonathan, this is exactly why I'm having you stretch yourself in your videos to how can I get loud and quiet and soft and cry and as real and raw and beyond my comfort zone as possible, so that if my comfort zone is the size of a fucking football field or the size of the world, and someone else's comfort zone is like in their quiet little box hiding behind a fucking keyboard, that marketer could attend every marketing training in the world for the last 10 years, and I make more money than him and have an amazing life because he's still hiding behind his keyboard and he knows shit that I can't even comprehend about marketing, but because I'm real and raw and relevant and fucking know people and meet people and actually give a shit and have done this other stuff, bam, 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 I will kick his ass upside and down day in and day out without even trying. And that's the answer to your Facebook group stuff. It's the answer to your videos. It's the answer to your Facebook sales, all of that. It's all the same answer. Got it? Sweet. We got 30 minutes left. Shift drift could take me an hour or two to fully cover, so I might save that for last. I would love to get to the communication piece. Morris is asking about time management, and I think it was Marcia asked how to set up a Google Hangout. So I can do a screen share and share how to do the Google Hangout. Let's do time. Marci, do you have anything you want to add right now about anything before we move to the next thing?
Nope, you're good.
Cool. Okay, Morris, time management. My advice is everybody have a digital calendar on a computer that syncs with your smartphone. If you don't have that, I'm gonna do a Garrett White here. This is, I don't know if you guys have seen Garrett White do this, but he was pretty good at this about 5 years ago or something. He's like, if you don't have a smartphone and you want to be successful in today's world, do yourself a favor. Step number 1, go down to Home Depot. Go into the tools section, grab a hammer, take your phone out, and smash the fucking thing. Those are steps 1 through 5. Then go to the store and get a smartphone. If you're in the Apple cult, go get an Apple, which I'm in the cult, so I promote Apple. And if you're not, go get a Samsung or some other cool phone that other people like that will do all the same cool shit, and some people will arguably say even better. But get a smartphone. Guys, you can run a multi-million-dollar industry with this tool right here. This tool right here. There's people that own, I used to own $4 million worth of track hose and loaders and equipment. You guys don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about when I name it off. Road graders and blades and backhoes and frickin' drillers and all kinds of shit. $4 million worth of equipment I had and 60 employees. I make more money today with me as the sole dude in the company. I have a couple of assistants and some help with some marketing. And this. And I can travel anywhere I want, whenever I want. I could catch a fucking plane today if I decide. I could hang up right now, say, guys, I decided to leave. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. I'm going to the airport to hop on a plane and head to wherever the fuck I decide because I can. And I can run my whole life from right here. So having a calendar that syncs so that when I'm out on my run and I get an insight that I need to talk to so-and-so, I can jot that down. And I can enter it in my calendar and it automatically syncs with my computer. And then later on when I'm on this call with you and I've got my calendar on my computer, I can pull that up and it's synced with my phone and I can enter it in my computer, and when I leave, it's already updated and I'm not questioning. Guys, when you're running at 100 miles an hour and you're like, in order to run an empire, the way that Marci and I run empires, our empires, you have to have systems in place that allow that to take place. If your nature is to expand and to grow, your capacity means you're going to expand your business, you're going to expand your stewardship and all that you manage. And in order to do that, you need people and systems and tools in place to make that easy. And your calendaring system is a critical piece of that. So have a calendar that syncs up easily. Then, so recently we put some automated calendaring systems into one of my automated marketing systems, so that when people click on a link that goes to my website and they watch a training video and then they fill out an app and then they click on a button that opens up a calendar and gives them available spots that they can click on and schedule for a phone conversation with me without me or anybody having to deal with them. Well, in order to make all that sync, then we hit a wall and we're like, hey, what do we do? I use iCalendar for my phone and my computer, and that's the system that really works well for me. How can we use something else to make it so that I don't have to schedule with them and waste my time an hour a day scheduling with people when they could just automatically schedule? So we figured out how to get them to click a link that takes them to a Google Calendar. The Google Calendar syncs with my iCalendar. The iCalendar shows whether or not the spot's available. And in the Google Calendar, if it is available, then they can click on it and it'll schedule, and then it notifies me. So I didn't figure all that out on my own because it's not my zone of genius. But I had amazing people in my corner who helped me solve that and put it all together so that it happens seamlessly. So don't overwhelm yourself with, oh shit, there's so much I don't know. Stay in your zone of genius. Kick ass at what you kick ass at. Improve where you get to improve. Hire people to do shit that they do amazing, that's super easy for them, that it would take you days to figure out. They solve it in minutes for pennies compared to what it costs you and what you make doing the other stuff. So that's the basic system. The foundation is have a calendar that syncs. Once you've got that, know that first thing in the morning comes your core 5 process. And again, I can't encourage you enough. Get your core 5 handled first thing in the morning before anything. I've had people try this over and over. They always think they're smarter than the system, and they'll just spread it out throughout their day, and then it becomes a stress and a headache and a last-minute thing and a constant worry on their mind and a drain of energy. And instead of approaching the day with full power, they get small boosts as they go. Why not just attack the day first off full power? So schedule in your calendar first thing. And you know what? Right now, with Ironman, I'm getting up at 4 or 5, sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning to train. That's not my ideal. That's not my ideal world. My ideal world, I would sleep till like 6 or 7. But currently, because of my commitments to everything, that's the best path I can see so far that allows me to get to everything that I'm committed to. So I'm setting that. Now after Ironman, I'm well aware that I will still have my fitness and I will still handle all these areas, but I will, be going to, and I adjust my schedule constantly. Once I set it on my calendar, nowadays I don't even have the idea that, okay, now I finally landed on my perfect schedule for the rest of my life. I don't even try to believe that. I just go, okay, this is how it is now. And I know in about a month from now, I'm going to change it a little again. And in a month from now, a little again. Because I'm going to notice what works and what doesn't work and how I can improve it. So just this week, I realized that if after my swim lessons, I'm getting up right now at 5, heading to swim, getting back from swim at 7:30. I realized that if at 7:30, instead of me going out for my run, I will spend an hour with my wife and daughter, completely changes the dynamic of my home life, dramatically. Just barely made this implementation this week, never saw it before. Switch that up, completely change the dynamic of the home life. Now we've got a lot more synchronicity with a lot of ease. Then I'm heading out so, you know, let me do a screen share here. So let me show you my calendar. Someone verbalize that you see my calendar. I can't see you, so a gesture won't help. I have to hear your voice.
Got it.
Okay. So you look here, and you see these 2 days are a little bit more spacious because I've deleted some tasks and I've moved them forward. The other value of having a digital calendar is if there's an additional task on it, like this guy right here, I talked to him yesterday, and this yesterday was right here, somewhere right here. But then I realized, okay, I want to follow up with him tomorrow. So I moved him to here, and I thought, and I have a relationship with my calendar and myself where when I move it, I take the time and energy to tune in energetically and say, how will I feel at that time? So when I put him right here, I'm like, okay, what does my day look like? I'll get up at it says 5:30 because that's when I arrive at the swim place. I get up at 5, arrive at the swim place. I'm going to swim, and then I'm going to drive back. I'm going to get home at 7:30. Then what I did, it says meditation because what my wife and I are choosing to do at that time is the first half hour we're meditating together, which is incredibly powerful as a couple to not just always talk, but to just connect in that silence together. And then after that, we're talking about our intentions for the day. We're both setting intentions. So we're doing a half-hour meditation, and then we're talking about what are your intentions for the day. So then after that, we do that for about 15 minutes. Then we connect with our daughter. About then she gets up. We're all connecting, syncing up. We've spent an hour of deep, deep quality time and connection. That's not quantity, it's quality. And then I'm going into my run. So we have a person that comes over every morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's not on this calendar, that makes food for me. So can you guys still see me as well, or you just see my calendar? You see both?
Just the calendar.
Okay, so this person comes over from 8 to 10, makes me my breakfast, which consists of boiled eggs and various vegetables that are typically steamed. So that I get my proteins and my carbs in the purest form, all organic, right? So then all that's handled, my food prep for the day. My green smoothie's done, my green fresh squeezed green juice is done. She takes out all my supplements, mixes them up, and preps them right there so that when I get back from my run at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, depending on the day, I walk in and I can take my supplements, drink whatever juice, green smoothies, grab all my water, all my shit, eat my food, gather it up. So when I came to this call, I had pre-prepared my green smoothie, my green juice, a big old container of water, and I had just eaten my broccoli and my steamed broccoli and my soft-boiled eggs just prior to this call so that I could best leverage my time so that I could be present with my wife and baby and get my fitness in and still have my nutrition done without having, otherwise there's no way I could have accomplished all of that. Now at the same time, on my run, I listen to books on tape. So my study time is happening during that time. So it's not like I do one and then the next and then the next, because I've accomplished from 5 o'clock this morning till 10 o'clock this morning what most people will do all day long or won't do at all. Because I've figured out how to crush it all in to a lot smaller time frame by multitasking. I can run and listen at the same time, believe it or not. I can do it. I can connect with my wife and meditate and set my intentions all at the same time. So all that's happened, 10 o'clock, I'm good to go. Green signifies it's a sales call. So let's advance forward a week. You notice on these times where it says sales, it just says sales. Why do I have that? That means that I have not designated that time to any particular person. It's just designated that that's sales time. So that later on today when someone messages me and says, hey Chris, I've been following you for the last year. I love your work. What's the price of your coaching programs? Or what does it take to get involved with you? Then I engage and we have the conversation back and forth, and then I determine they're a fit. And I say, okay, and instead of trying to fit them in this week and make my life miserable by overbooking and overscheduling and hurrying and jumping to get them on my schedule, I look and I say, yep, all my sales spots are filled for this week. And unless it's incredibly urgent to me or I feel a strong drive to connect with them now, if I did feel a strong drive, like I really want to connect with this person, I might fill them in right here. But I also know that I like to keep my Fridays open as possible so that it can be simple and easy and I can transition into the weekend. I like transition days. So I usually keep my Mondays and Fridays easy. I call those transition days. So rather than most people have a weekend and then Monday comes and they hate Monday, the reason why is because it's like they jump out of the womb into the frickin' field, or they jump out of this relaxing meditative state into the into hell. So no, like set up so that it's a smooth, easy transition so you have momentum. So by the time I get through Monday, Tuesday I'm good to go. I'm roaring and ready to work. I didn't have a hard jump from easy relaxation on the weekend to hard work on Monday. I have a transition day, and the same for Friday. Friday I leave open because I know I'm going to have lots of things I want to get done. Like this, it just says office admin. Well, that's not anything in particular other than I know that I want to have time to handle the logistics of my business so that they're handled, and I'm getting things complete as I go so that I'm not getting behind and wondering why shit's not done. It gives me space to make sure that all fronts are handled in my world so that I don't have energy leaking out there and wondering why my life is so chaotic. Okay, so we jump forward, and so if that person wanted a sales call with me, then I can say, okay, I've got Tuesday, 10 a.m. available. How's that for you? That'll work great. Boom, I come over here, double click, and write their name in. John Doe. And boom, now John Doe's scheduled. Now I'll also in the messenger thread say, okay, what's your number? Then they give me their number and I will copy and paste it right here at the location, because otherwise last minute when I'm about ready to call them and I just got back from my run, I'm going to be thinking, now where's their number and who was that I was chatting with last week and what was our conversation? And instead, since I've taken the notes, then I will just easily be able to click on it. And from my phone, I can click right on their number and it'll call directly from my calendar. Okay, so let me go back. So now I know at 11 o'clock we have this training. So I had a sales call this morning. I had this training. This ascension is set aside time for my second meditation of the day that will allow me to recharge before. So if you look at it, I've had a long day. 5 o'clock to 1 o'clock, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. I've already been up and at it, high level of productivity on a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical level for 8 hours by the time 1 o'clock hits. So I can drag ass through the rest of the day and wonder why I'm tired and exhausted and burned out, or I can stop right here and put in a quality meditation. And in 20 minutes, I have 30 minutes set aside, but in 20 minutes, I'm completely recharged, reconnected, inspired, and ready to roll. Right here, this is happens to be this time. It's just a business meeting with someone I'm putting on an event with this weekend. So we got an hour and a half set aside from 1:30 to 3 to strategize and design the weekend event. Then I've got a coaching call, then I've got a marketing call, and then I've got a follow-up sales conversation. And then and typically I don't have conversations this late. This one's like he's probably like a $200,000 client that's right on the edge of enrolling. And so I talked to him yesterday, didn't quite close the deal, and so right now I wait. As I moved him to here, I'm like, man, I will have had 7, 8 hours in the morning. Then I got business and coaching and marketing back to back to back. What am I going to do with this? Now this girls thing, this is about my daughters. What does that tell me? It tells me my daughters are getting off school right now. So in the morning, you see this girls thing too. There's things scheduled on top of those, but while I run, I will hit my button and hit Siri and say, text Samantha. And Siri will say, what do you want to say to Samantha? And I'll say, tell her, good morning, I love you. Are you ready to create an epic day? And boom, I'm running and having a connection and a conversation with my daughter. I might end up converting that into a video conversation, a phone call, or a number of things, even while I'm running. Turn off the audio I'm listening to and connect with them if needs be. But at the very least, I will have messaged them first thing. They're getting up and getting ready for school. First thing in the morning, they hear who's in their mind? Dad. Dad's saying, I love you. How are you? What are you up to? What are your intentions for the day? Are you going to create epicness? Awesome. Go tear it up. Talk to you this afternoon. Then again, this afternoon, what happens? They're just getting off school. Who's the first person that pops in their mind? Dad. Why? Because I'm committed to being an epic dad who messages and creates that connection with them immediately. Then right here down below, you see Bryn to bed. Bryn's my youngest daughter. She lives with me. These other daughters are in Utah with my previous wife. So Bryn, I'm putting her to bed, and while I see this and the reminder pops up on my phone that says Bryn to bed, this doesn't just mean put her to bed. This means connection time, reading books, brushing teeth, saying prayers, which saying prayers means it's thank you for this, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's gratitude, 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 gratitude. So I'm teaching my daughter gratitude. And at the same time, it reminds me, message to your daughters. Hey guys, epic day, love you. Rest well, sleep well, sweet dreams. So boom, I'm in their mind first thing in the morning, midday, and last thing at night before they go to sleep. All positive interactions and constant engagement. It's kind of a struggle being a single, divorced, divided home, being far away, being committed to connecting and creating those FaceTime calls, those text messages, all of that. Otherwise, energetically, I'm constantly feeling drained, like I'm a failure as a father, which is one of my primary values. And when I feel a failure there, my certainty gets undermined, and it affects my sales conversations and my certainty as a coach, and my ability to authentically stand up and say, I have an epic life that I love where I have it all. So it is a must for me to maintain those relationships and make those deposits every day. That's why it's scheduled in. So then from there, it's family time. And then the Meadow Report. This is a great relationship tool, guys. What this means is the man is, goes out and hunts all day typically. Now in today's society, it's a little different. So a lot of women are hunters. Marci's a hunter. She's out hunting and gathering and doing all of it, the man and the woman. And so don't take this as a sexist thing, but typically the man and woman were wired this way. Man goes out and hunts. Woman goes to the meadow and gathers berries and flowers and some of the other stuff that can be gathered. So then they meet back in the evening. Man brings back the meat of the animal he killed. And the woman brings back the berries and the flowers and puts a vase and some beautiful flowers on the table and mixes the berries in and some of the other fruits and vegetables that she picked with the meat that he killed, and they have a meal and they talk about their experience. Now the man is pretty basic. He just wants a piece of meat, a beer, some TV, and some sex in the simplest version. The woman mostly wants to talk about, and it's very important and powerful if the woman has an outlet at the end of the day to talk about what we call the Meadow Report, which is, yeah, today I was walking in the meadow and I saw this and I saw that and I this and that happened. It was cool and the blah, blah, blah. And so if you allow that space for her to open up and share all of that, now men have this listening filter of, I need to be listening for what I'm going to fix, what I'm going to solve. I need to be giving advice and answers and solving shit. So instead of that, men, shut your brain off. Quit trying to solve problems for her. You're not trying to fix anything. You're just there to listen. And you want her to talk as much as possible. So what you want to do is just ask questions. Tell me more about your day. What was that like? How did you feel? What did you notice? What most interested you about that? Wow, what was that like for you? That sounds cool. Tell me more. So you're just saying things to get, just talking enough to get them to talk more and get them to fully express without coming back or retaliating with any advice, any solutions, anything. Your job is simply to listen. And when they feel heard, listening, feeling heard is the #1 aphrodisiac you can create. If you don't know what aphrodisiac means, it means makes people horny. So, in plain English. So, like, just listen. And even if it's not about having sex, just creating connection and unity and an epic relationship, schedule in that meta report time and just be with her and practice just listening. Okay, so then you look at the rest of my day. I've got Thursday, 3 sales calls in a row. That's not typical. One of them's not quite actually a sales call. It's more of just a coaching experience, but it happened to be in that spot. Then I've got a coaching call. So one of the guys in one of these groups, I wanted to spend some a couple of these are people I wanted to spend some one-on-one time with to upgrade, just I could see with some slight adjustments with some one-on-one shit, they'd get a lot more epic results. So that's not something that I've sold with your package in participation in Badass, but it's something that occasionally I'll say, hey dude, let's get on the phone, because I know that with a little bit of time together I can make an epic difference in your life, and your success is my success. Literally, like the more I can create epic results in your world, the more you're going to brag about me, be a raving fan, and the easier it is for me to get more raving fans. So then another coaching session, some girls, some me time. Typically this would be me time on this day. This client I'm wanting to spend some extra time with right now, so I schedule it when I normally don't schedule sessions later in the day. I like to target my days, so if we look at next week, you'll see I like to target my days to end at 3 o'clock. Now, does that happen? Typically not. Typically I get done, I've done a lot of back-to-back stuff, and I'm like, hey, there's a little bit of admin and some completion, some stuff. So I'm going to squeeze these other things in, still get it all in, but I'm going to add some extras in here. So hopefully that's enough on, oh, make sure you get those date nights in. If you're in a relationship, date nights. 2 for me currently. If you're not in date nights, you're not in a relationship, schedule time with yourself to cherish yourself and treat yourself and take yourself on dates. Don't sit and wait for someday maybe when Prince Charming comes along and delivers you and offers you all the romance you've always wanted. Don't wait for that. Give it to yourself now. Be fully in love with yourself now. Okay, so let's go to YouTube real quick so that I can help Marcia know how to set these up. So first thing is make sure you have a YouTube account. If you don't have a YouTube account, get a YouTube account. If you don't know how to get a YouTube account, go to YouTube and watch a YouTube video on how to get a YouTube account. Or just Google YouTube and figure it out. But once you do have a YouTube account, come into YouTube, make sure you're logged in. I look up here, I see my picture up here, I know I'm logged in. So then I come right here to my channel. This is how we set up a Google Hangout just like we are having right now. So I clicked on my channel. Now you can go to Google Hangout and just have a hangout without coming to YouTube. But when you come to YouTube, it sets it up so that you can record it and save it for other purposes. Sometimes I use these videos for marketing, for training purposes, for you guys to be able to review them, for all of that. So I like to record almost all of my Google Hangouts. So I come to my channel, then I come over here to Video Manager. Click on Video Manager. And then I come over here and it'll show a list of videos that I've recorded recently. Then I'll click over here on Live Events. Then you'll see right here, this is the event we are in right now. If I click on this, it will pull up the recording to this call. So I'm not going to do that right now. Instead, what I'm going to do is click on New Live Event right here. I'll come in and name it. So we'll call it sex, money, and relationships. And then typically in the description, I just push Command A, which will highlight the whole thing. I'll move my cursor down here, then click Command V. Oops, I pasted, oh, I didn't copy this. So I click Command A to highlight this, Command C to copy it, or whatever copy and paste options you want to do. Just a second here. And then Command V will paste it in there. So it makes it super fast if you know those commands, because I just type the first one in, click Command All, highlights it, Command C copies it, move my cursor down here, click Command V, and it pastes it down there. V as in Victor. So that's boom, 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 fast. Come over here to the time, and I would set it, this call for 11 a.m. Pacific, but since we're past that, I'll just set this one for, say, 1 p.m. Or you can do start now. If you don't want to set a start time, you can say, you can schedule it for another day, another time, or no time, just say start now. So since I entered in this time, right here it says create event. If I didn't enter in a time and it said now, it will say go live now on this button. So that's if you impromptu just want to set up a live event with somebody. You can come in, set it up, launch it now, copy and paste the link, go live now. And then once you go live, then you can copy and paste the link and share it with them. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I'm going to do it how I normally do it, which is to schedule it for a future time. So I'll go 1 p.m. and then I'll say create event. So now there's an event right here called Sex, Money, and Relationships. And I can click right here, and it'll bring me to the back end. So it'll say, please stand by. This is what you guys see when you can log into the back end of the call. And if I want to share the link to this back end of the call with you, I just copy and paste this right here at the top. Or I can come down here and click share and copy and paste this link, but you'll notice it's the exact same link as this. This is this. They go to the same place. So to save a step, I don't come down here. I just come up here and click Command Copy. And then I would come over here to the Facebook group, click Right Post, and type in front end. Now, of course, you'll have a different setting, but then I just do Command V, and it's there. And I might do a Shift Return to get that down. But I just posted the back end of the call, not the front end. So I go back end, and then I come back to get the front end. I'll come back to YouTube, and then rather than have clicking here, I'll click on Start Hangout on Air. So this brought me where we were, clicking this link here. But if I click Start Hangout on Air right here, it'll open up the Hangout. Can you guys see on my screen where it says you're already in a video call?
Yes.
Okay. So rather than ending the call, I don't want to do that, I would copy and paste this link, Command Copy, and then I would exit out of that or leave it live. Then I would come back over here and paste that link right here. So now that's the front end link, the back end link. So since I'm not actually sending this out to you guys, I'll go ahead and delete that and leave that page. Come back here, click on this. Since I'm not doing that training, I will come down here and delete it. And that, my friends, is how you set up a live YouTube video recording. Any questions about that? And now I'll come over here and turn off this green button that is a screen share, and you will see me again. Marcia, did that answer your question? Perfect. Any other questions around that? Facebook interacting schedule. So when do I turn off? Do I turn off my phone completely? A lot of people turn off their phone completely. I don't have a time where I turn it off completely other than if I'm meditating. When I go to bed, I put it on airplane mode because I don't want my sleep interrupted. Sleep is absolutely necessary. And the EMTs, the electromagnetic frequencies, or EMF, I guess they're called, coming through the airwaves, I don't want that shit affecting my sleep. So I turn on airplane mode and put the phone as far out of reach as possible so that I can barely get it in the morning. And then during the day, if I'm doing meditation, it goes on airplane mode because I don't want to hear, people are constantly messaging me, ding, 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 ding. I don't want to hear any of that shit. So I'll turn it off basically during meditation times, during family connection times, and at bedtime. But there is a lot of people who turn it off completely just so that they can unplug, and I'm not currently doing that. Doesn't mean it's not a great idea. Julie, I see your question about sales calls. Yes. Jonathan also answered there's a sales call training in the membership group, I believe. We have trained on sales probably more than anything else we've trained on in the group. But glad to keep doing it until everyone totally rocks at it. Cool, Julie. Post those questions continuously in the group, here on the side during the training. And yes, we can address and teach further on those. Morris, did your time management questions get answered? Perfect. The things we didn't get to that I want to get to is sales conversations and communication. Let me give a quick rundown of communication. Looks like we lost Marci. Okay, so quick rundown of communication, Jonathan. Step number 1 is what I heard you say is. Step number 2 is what I imagine you feel is. Then step number 3 is what I imagine you most want is. And that's a simple version. I could teach you like 20 hours on this. But that is the most condensed version of creating communication that works. So she might say, you're such a jerk, you work all the time, obviously your work's more important to you than me and the baby. So rather than justifying and defending and coming back and trying to prove that she's wrong, and that she doesn't appreciate you, and all the hard work that you do that's for her and the baby, you say, what I heard you say is that I work all the time, and that I care more about my work than you and the baby. And she's like, yeah. You're like, and I imagine you feel sad and angry. And scared that it's always going to be this way. You probably feel sad that you just want to connect more, and angry that it keeps being this way, and scared that it will continue to be this way. Yeah. And I imagine what you most want is to have a healthy, strong, solid relationship where we connect regularly and have this deep, passionate, loving relationship, and where you feel supported with the baby and the home and yourself and everything you're experiencing. Yes. Got it. And then if there were a 4th step, it would be, I wonder how we can create plenty of time for me to accomplish everything that I want to accomplish in my business, while also creating plenty of support for you and meeting your needs. So let's identify your primary wants and needs, my primary wants and needs, and then let's have an exploratory conversation about how to create that. So I assure you, we didn't always have someone prepping food in the morning around here. It used to be my wife, and it used to be part-time. And then sometimes I wouldn't get fueled, and sometimes she would be overburdened. And then she would say, I need more help with the food. And I'm like, I've got more important things to do. And then what comes out of that, if we listen and co-create solutions, is we now have a person who comes 5 days a week from 8 to 10 and preps the shit. So it's an ever-evolving, if you just listen, you've probably already been listening, but maybe you're not generating the solutions or something. Okay, did we resolve? Did we get to what would move you forward with that? Great. Is that helpful for the rest of you? Good. Okay, Julie. And anyone else who wants to improve your cells, let's do a training on it. And if you're willing to spend an extra $100, log online to Tiffany Peterson's website called The Lighthouse Principles, I think, and order her Cells Mastery CD set. It's like a 5-disc CD set or something. It's the #1. I've listened to dozens upon dozens of sales trainings. All-time favorite, hands down. $100. Listen to it. The first disc is a lot on goal setting and all that, which may or may not be completely relevant right now. Tiffany Peterson, Lighthouse Principles, Cells Mastery. So the first CD is a lot on goal setting and getting connected with your why, which may or may not be relevant. If you've done that effectively with our process, it may not even apply. Or you might get some great tips from it. The rest of it explains what's called the 5-gate system, which is incredibly powerful, and it's the sales process that I teach. Now, I've studied dozens of sales processes, and I've done scripted sales, listened and attended sales trainings and all kinds of stuff for a long time, and so my stuff is mixed in hers and lots of others. But for the base process, hers is my favorite all-time process. It's questions-based. It's seeking first to understand, then to be understood. It's listening versus talking, which aligns with correct principle in relationship and communications. It's discovering their need. And the 5 gates are pretty simple. It's their prison. Well, she'll call it pain, pleasure, gap, commitment, solution. And you can also call it prison, paradise, gap, commitment, solution. And if you'll just ask people questions, guiding them through those steps one at a time, and remember it's all about the feeling and taking them to an emotional place. So when I'm in the pain step, I want them to feel lots of pain about their current circumstance. So yesterday I got on the phone with a guy who makes millions of dollars running his business and acts like a badass. He's struggling in his relationship, separated. He was acting like he was a badass, and and this is true of all people. Everyone is delusional. Everyone is convincing themselves and others that they're in a better place than they really are. Everyone. Anyone you're talking to, no matter how good they tell you they have it, they don't fucking have it that good. There's pain. Wherever they're at, there's somewhere better that they want to be. It's human nature. We are meant to expand and grow and go to a better place. So this person, he's like, I'm good, man. I make a lot of money. And his thing was, I have sex with 2-3 different hot chicks every week. And I run my own business. I set my own schedule. I have all these employees. I have the nicest fucking truck around. I make more money than 90% of people. I'm good, man. I got it all. I spent an hour and a half punching him in the face, telling him what a fucking douchebag he was. showing him how he was and getting him to admit, asking him questions, and ultimately had him bawling his eyes out about how he was failing as a father. So his first image was, I'm good, I'm the baddest, most successful, there's nothing I need help with, I'm fucking golden, I got my shit handled. And then an hour and a half later, he's bawling his eyes out saying, I feel like the biggest fucking failure in the world. I've stepped out on my wife. I've stepped out on my kids. I promised them. I promised her dad. I promised her. I promised God that I would stand beside this woman. And now here I am off fucking all these other women, leaving her hanging, leaving the kids hanging, not active in their life. And I feel like a total failure. And the truth is the sex isn't fulfilling me. And the big truck and all the money means nothing to me. And this is a big-ass image that I'm carrying. I'm unhappy. I'm unfulfilled. And although I'm still successful in my business, it's been on a decline. That's kind of a big turnaround from what he first fucking told me. And those guys always want to, and everybody always wants to brag about how good their life is and how amazing it is until you get down to the root of it and you realize, no, it's not. There's so much more. So my willingness to listen to him and say, yeah, that's cool, that's epic what you've created. Well, tell me about your kids. How you doing in the parenting department? Oh, man. Tell me about your wife and your relationship. Where's the status there? Oh, man, we're certain. We're destined for divorce. And when we started the call, he told me we're for sure getting divorced. When we ended the call, he's like, I think I could salvage this thing. So be willing to fucking meet them in their pain and ask them question after question after question and expose as much pain as you possibly can about their current situation and getting them to face what is. And you, again, they buy emotionally. If I didn't get that, now that guy may buy like $200,000 worth of events and group coaching and live coaching and all this from me as a result of my call with him yesterday. Normally my sales calls are about an hour or less. This guy I spent 2.5 hours with. I even rescheduled my next appointment to stay with him because emotionally we were in it. So I spent all the time in the world to get him truly connected with how he was failing as a father, failing as a husband, and failing as a businessman. And as a son, as a brother, as all, like, and it was true. It wasn't me instilling anything. I was asking him questions and getting him to be authentic about what was really happening and what he really wanted. Then I was willing to ask the questions in step number 2. Well, what do you want? How would you like it to be? What if you could make your relationship work? What if you could be the dad you want to be? What if you could, because he was living in an either-or world, like either I can have a successful, thriving business or I can be the dad and husband I want to be. I'm like, what if you could have both? What would that look and feel like? Oh, that would be amazing. Well, I'm here to tell you you can. Describe it to me. What would it look like? What would it feel like? Oh, this and that and the other. So now I've got him emotionally on a high of what's possible. It's all real. I'm being strategic, but I'm not being unjustly manipulative. I'm strategically helping him face the truth of what is and the truth of what he wants it to be, and to take responsibility for that. The next thing I'm showing him is the gap. He's like, well, shit, what do I got to do to create that? I really want to be over on the other side of the Grand Canyon in that oasis, being the father and husband and making the money. Well, you've got to learn how to communicate, and you got to learn how to listen, and you got to swallow some pride, and you got to be teachable. You're going to need some coaching, and you've got to turn around some mindsets and some skill sets, and this and this and this and this is all in your way from having that. These are your gaps. And if you don't solve these, you're stuck on that side of the canyon. Yeah, it's true. Man, there's so much I need to know and do. Yeah. And imagine, and then I help him see and distinguish between his two possible realities. If you apply this and do what it takes, you will be here. You will be to the paradise. The other scenario or story, it's basically like there's two stories for you from here. One is you don't learn what you need to learn and make the adjustments, and you continue down the road you're continuing down, and you end up divorced. And we added up the numbers. I added up the numbers with him. I'm like, so you have this, 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 and this, and it ended up to be $500,000 in his case. I'm like, so by the time you pay out, give her the house, and the child support, and the half of your bank account, and this, that, and the other, it's $500,000. And in the meantime, you still haven't solved the problem. You're still failing as a father and husband, and you're going to turn around and recreate the same shit in your next relationship because you haven't cleaned up your shit. He's like, oh shit, I'm going to pay out $500,000, be a douche, fail as a father, and go recreate the same shit all over again? Oh, I don't like that story. Or you can learn what you get to learn, do what you get to do, and I told him it's not a magic pill, it's not easy, it's going to be long, it's going to be hard, you're a pain in the ass, it'll probably take you 2 to 3 years to get there, and you're going to face all the scariest and hardest shit you've ever faced in order to pull it all off. And you're going to have to get incredibly real and honest and authentic and own your shit, and you're going to eat crow, and you're going to get humble, and it's going to be an absolute pain in your ass for like 3 years to turn this ship around. Like total makeover, inside and out for you. So now that I've set the stage and he's clear of what it's going to cost him to continue, and he's got two paths: continue being a douche and get a douche result, or make a shift and create an epic result. It's pretty easy to make that choice at that point. Then I'm like, hey, how committed to solving that are you? Whatever it takes, man. I'd fucking walk on glass. I'd walk through fire. Whatever it takes. So are you absolutely committed to that other outcome and to getting there? Yes. Cool. So let's talk about what it's going to look like. First thing we're going to want to do is fly me out. We're going to work together one-on-one for a few days. Next thing, we're going to start doing one-on-one over the phone consistently, however many times a week we get to keep you on course. Next thing, you're going to come to Cancun or to have a soup buy. We're going to do an outdoor breakthrough adventure. You're going to network with a bunch of other guys. We're going to have the most powerful week of your life. Then we're going to add you into a group coaching program I call Badass Ascension, where you're going to be accountable and you're going to take your business and your life to the top. That's amazing, man. All that sounds perfect. What's it going to take? Well, for starters, $100,000 up front. Now we'll talk about the rest. Oh, man, that's a lot of money. I just met you. I've never even heard of you before, and we just got on the phone. We've been on the phone for a couple hours. That's a lot of money. You expect me to hand over $100,000 to someone I don't even know that I've only met and talked to for a couple hours? Yeah. Either that or you can keep on with your douchebaggery and have the results that we talked about. Yeah, I see your point. So how would you like to pay for that? Cash, deposit in my bank, wire, credit card? How do you want to get that covered? So yesterday I didn't fully close him. We're like 90%, and we agreed to follow up this afternoon. If you can close them on the spot, do it, if at all possible, without being pushy. Like, you do want to be assertive and committed. In that scenario, basically the reason why I let him off the hook was he was standing in front of his wife. He was broken, wide open, and he's like, all I want to do right now is tell her she's not alone and that I'm sorry. And she was standing right there, and time was requiring that they were going to have to, so there was this magic moment that could happen, and I was more interested in that happening than collecting his cash. I decided I would take my chances on the cash today because I cared more about that. So, Julie, was that helpful on sales? Awesome. Okay, guys. Create an amazing rest of the day. We'll see you on the forum. Talk soon.